G'day there guys, my name's Marky and welcome back to some more stories from Reddit. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's go. My ex contacted me after years, and now my boyfriend is upset that I kept in touch. Am I in the wrong? Hey everyone, I need your advice on a situation that happened to me last week. For some context, I was in a relationship with my ex for a year, but we broke up 7 years ago. I'm a female, 27, my current boyfriend is 32, and my ex is also 27. Last week, out of the blue, my ex DM'd me just to check in, see how I was going, and how life was treating me. Naturally, I told my boyfriend right away, and he said that it was okay that my ex had reached out. From there, my ex and I continued messaging throughout the week. Eventually, we planned to meet up on Saturday, however, I forgot to mention this to my boyfriend right away. When I realized, I told him that I might see my ex and asked how he felt about it. He said that it was fine and that I could go. So, I met up with my ex on Saturday, and honestly, we had a really pleasant and positive time. We caught up on our lives, talked about our families, friends, and everything, but nothing more. I want to emphasize that there was absolutely nothing romantic or inappropriate on either side. It was very friendly, and I made sure to be respectful of my boyfriend throughout. We even agreed to stay in touch if needed, but strictly in a respectful and platonic way. When I got home, my boyfriend asked how it went, and I told him everything, but he reacted very negatively. He asked to see my phone, went through my entire conversation with my ex, and when he didn't find anything compromising, he seemed even more frustrated. We ended up having a huge argument, and now he's saying that he doesn't trust me anymore, that I'm hiding things, that I'm being dishonest, and so on. I'm really confused. I feel like I did everything by the book, being honest and respectful, but my boyfriend's reaction has me questioning myself. Was I wrong to meet up with my ex? Should I have handled this differently? I'd really appreciate your thoughts and advice. In the comments, Cannonball says, I can't imagine anyone doing backflips of joy when their partner is texting and meeting up with their ex. I'm sure he was very hurt and concerned. If the shoe was on the other foot, would you be happy if he was meeting up with his old girlfriends? If you think your boyfriend is dumb enough to believe that your ex wants to hover in your friend zone, I have a bridge, formerly owned by the city of New York, to sell to one of you. You forgot to tell him that you were going out with your ex, and then you told him you might see your ex. You're gaming us as badly as you played your boyfriend. Yeah, interesting way to sugarcoat the details on that one, OP. If you had properly communicated that yes, I am going to see my ex, we are going to hang out today, and didn't blindside your boyfriend, maybe I could have said, oh, he's just projecting, who knows. But you worded that one like a politician, and obviously kept us and him in the dark. And for that, I do think you're in the wrong, yes. And now, on to the update. Hi everyone. A big thank you to those who were constructive in their responses, and to the others, well, it seems like some of you might be feeling a bit lonely. For those who wanted an update or more info, here's the follow-up. To clarify, my boyfriend is on good terms with all of his exes and talks to them from time to time, which doesn't bother me at all. For those wondering how I'd react if the roles were reversed, I want to say that I have no issue with self-confidence or trust in our relationship, so I trust him 100%. My ex and I haven't spoken since. As for my boyfriend and I, yes, we're still together, we had a thorough discussion. We talked about both his perspective and mine, and it turns out what bothered him the most was that I didn't share more details about the messages exchanged during the week. That being said, he had no problem with me going to see my ex. I even showed him the post and your comments, and he found your reactions quite intense. He also believes it's important to remember that communication is key in a relationship and that nobody is perfect. You have to work together to make it work. But don't worry, everything is great between us. We are happy and still very much in love, so it's a story with a happy ending. In the comments, so you ask people for their opinions and then get upset when they disagree with you. K. Maybe it's just me, but I get annoyed when someone acts like we're in a mature and confident relationship that we don't care if our partner is still involved with their ex. Great, but cheating still happens. People have been burned. Your relationship isn't that mature, and you aren't that self-confident. Your partner makes you feel secure and confident, Something you need to recognize. Quote, we ended up having a huge argument, and now he's saying that he doesn't trust me anymore, that I'm hiding things, that I'm being dishonest, and so on. And we're just gonna ignore all of this? Oh, but they talked it all out, you see. Everyone has to work on themselves. It was just a miscommunication. And all it took was him reading all her messages. So easily solved. Everyone just seems to be breezing by OP saying, I might see my ex, when what OP was doing was really planning to see her ex. I know it's a little thing, but it seems pretty important in my opinion. Yeah, I think this is the problem. It sounds to me like OP casually said she might see her ex in passing and tried to make it seem like she didn't set up a meeting with him one-on-one. She knew she was going to see him because they had made plans and had been talking all week. This OP is so weird. I don't like them. They're keen on hiding things and thinking they are masters of communication. That's just being deceitful and a bit manipulative. Honestly, couldn't agree more. I don't like their vibes. Everyone that puts these stories out where they're like, oh, we had a huge argument and I don't know what I did wrong and it's crazy. And then in the follow-up are like, you guys overreacted here. What's wrong with you? Are you guys all right? Man, your partner must hate you for the way that you guys overreact in situations, because it really wasn't that bad what was happening to me. We just had a short and frank conversation and everything was fine. God, you guys are losers. Sure hope I never run into you on the street, you big overreactor. It really just tells me that the person posting the story is the problem in the relationship. Not only are they manipulating their partner, they're also manipulating me and everyone reading these stories. No wonder they deleted their account. What an embarrassment of a person. Our next post is by user NextGenNeuro, titled, Am I the asshole, 23 female, for asking my partner, 27 male, to tell his friends to leave the house party? I'll try and be concise. The party was originally planned as a housewarming, but my friends couldn't make it, so it was just my partner's friends who were coming. Guests here from 6 p.m, I provided all the food, drink, and worked hard on making the lounge a comfortable environment and sourcing plenty of seats. For context, I work night shifts, and in the last 48 hours, I've worked a night shift and had one nap between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. on the day of the party. Bearing in mind, I went straight from my night shift to the store to buy all of these supplies. Fast forward, it's now 1 a.m., and I figured that it's been a while. Everyone had a blast. I think it's time to call it a night. I asked my partner in private, who responded with, I can't kick them out. Do you know how bad that would be for me? Look, now, I support him, and I know how it feels to be insecure around your friends if you don't see them that often, especially as adults, so I let it slide, and I wait. It's now 2:30 a.m., and my partner has ordered more food, which means they'll be staying for even longer. I'm at the end of my tether now, running on 2 hours of sleep, having put in all the effort, and to just add insult to injury, none of the guests have thanked me, greeted me, or appreciated the work I put in. I then learnt they'd been taking cocaine in my bathroom, and I'm now upset. My partner sees no problem and is getting upset with me now. Am I the asshole? In the comments, Quiet Essay says, not the asshole. You've been more than generous with both time and provisions. Your partner has disrespected you and your efforts by allowing this fiasco to continue for over 6 hours, exposing you to possible felony charges, and just being generally an asshole. If he's this insecure around his friends, he doesn't have friends, and he does not deserve you. Yeah, wow, talk about burying the lead there, holy shit. How has this guy manipulated OP into thinking that she might be the asshole for wanting his friends to leave at 1:30 when they've been doing coke in her bathroom and he knows about it and doesn't care about it, or about how she feels about it? Not the asshole, but OP should throw the whole man in the bin. That is not a keeper. So, I missed the coke in my first read-through, but I guess I'll still drop my nearly foolproof way to end a party at mine for any readers who might find it useful. You just stand up and say, okay folks, I appreciate you all staying back to clean up. Who wants first shift with the dishes? Or equivalent chore. If you have guests actually worth inviting over in the first place, they'll either take the hint and leave, or they'll help clean up, or do a little bit of cleaning and then leave. It's a win-win. If you have terrible guests like OPs, hopefully soon to be ex's friends, who don't care in the least about your feelings or basic etiquette, well, probably not going to be so useful, sorry. Not the asshole. Your partner is absolutely disrespecting you and showing how little he cares about your feelings. If he cared more, he would have no problem politely wrapping up the party or suggesting they take the party elsewhere so that you could sleep. If I were you, I'd just let them know to keep it down as you are going to bed and then deal with your partner when they have sobered up. Babe, go to bed. Why are you staying up with them? Your man can handle it. Deal with the rest after you've slept. Not sure that I'd stay with a guy like this. I don't know. I personally wouldn't be able to sleep with a bunch of people in my house partying. They should definitely leave. The hosts have been more than accommodating. I don't know though. I understand everyone going like, oh my god, it could be a felony charge. I understand, but that's really overblowing the situation, and realistically, you're not going to get done for a felony charge there. Who's calling the police? But at the same time, they're doing cocaine in your house. No one told you they were doing that. I wouldn't be cool with it. I'd be pissed off. I'm surprised you didn't use that as an opportunity to be like, all right, everyone get out of the house. I didn't say that you could do that. You should have asked me first and you didn't. You've broken a house rule. Get out. I'm going to bed. At the same time, you shouldn't have to be the one to do that because they're not your friends. Your partner should be on your side here, but he cares more about his friends than he cares about you. I think that says a lot about this situation. Really, he should just move this party somewhere else out of the house, but he's not, because he doesn't care about you, again. So do with that information as you please. And now, on to the update. Thanks everyone for helping me see sense. It was happening live, so I couldn't reply to everyone, but I had gone to bed at around 11 p.m, but with the way our home was laid out, there's not a lot of soundproofing from the main area to the bedroom. I'm not precious, I am quite capable of sleeping if there isn't mountains of noise. At 3:45 a.m, I flipped and went through and kicked them out. Not a very gracious thing, but I think I'm allowed to have a crazy moment given that I had no sleep. Partner said that I embarrassed him and interrupted their fun game. Partner will be moving out in the coming weeks. Thanks everyone. In the comments, the online id of me says, well, hope that's the end of it for her because her ex and his buddies sure sound like something. I hope so. I have a feeling the ex is going to come back crying for forgiveness, but let's hope that that doesn't come and that OP is at peace. I hope that OP can stand strong if he comes crawling back. I definitely know people who have kept being dragged into toxicity with second and third and fourth etc. chances. If you can do coke but no thank you, then get the hell out of my house and take your effed up I don't want to lose them by sounding weak-assed friend with you. That girl dodged a missile. If you're in the Midwest, you just slap your knees and say, well, it's getting late. And any reasonably polite person from the culture will say their goodbyes. Absolutely. But there will be an extra 10 to 30 minutes of talking to get people on their way though. Only 10 to 30 minutes? Rude. Everybody knows that it takes at least an hour to leave, if you count all the places to stop and chat. If they're actually out at the car in an hour, you're almost there. Yeah, you know what? Good on you for getting rid of him, OP. I think he made it clear that that was a boundary that he could not and would not respect with you. And extrapolating these events into the future, what else is going to pop up? What else is going to be a deal breaker? And how are you going to come together to deal with these things in the future? If that isn't something that you want to sign up for, you're more than welcome to kick him out and break up with him. I think that is fair and reasonable. Our next post is by user aggressivemale4762, titled, There is something wrong with my wife, with content warning, animal abuse, so skip this if you don't want that. I'm posting here because my wife does not use or even really know what Reddit is, and I can't speak to anybody else but my therapist about it. I've tried asking friends and family, but none of them understand the gravity of what I'm saying, honestly. I'm a 37-year-old man, and my lovely wife, 36, and I have little to no problems with each other. However, upon noticing little things that are mounting up to a rather terrifying level, I'm not sure that I can ignore this anymore. She's a great person. She's done so much for me this whole marriage, and respects that I do not want to have sex after a rather traumatizing experience that I don't need to get into. She does little things that shows that she listens and cares about me, and I do the same for her. I want to stay with her because we've been married for 10 years now and she is all I know. But lately, I just don't know what's going on and why she's acting the way that she is. The first notable time was when we found an egg on the curb. We assumed that it was from our neighbor, given that they have chickens, and maybe an egg rolled out or something. Without a second thought, my wife stomped on the egg. Now, I would have been fine had it been an infertile egg or a cooking egg without anything, but the entire fetus was seen and I threw up. She laughed, saying that it was funny, and at least the neighbors don't have to worry about another chicken. I told myself that it was just an egg, and she had no idea that there would be a fetus in it, but her reaction afterwards rattled me. I brushed it off because, like I said, I love her. Maybe that's stupid, but I do. I really love her. But the things continued, and my love for her is wavering. Some notable things I remember. We have a dog, we'll call him Butter. Butter is the most calm dog in the world and housebroken and well-trained. However, one time he was very sick and irritated, and he went number 2 on the carpet. My wife screamed at Butter. Screamed. I told her to stop because the damage was done already, and Butter is a dog who is sick. I cleaned the carpet, and she never blew up at Butter again, but it rubbed me the wrong way how mean she was to him. I understand that she was frustrated, but Butter started crying and trying to give her paw, and she kept screaming at him. My mum passed in 2020, natural causes, but I was very close with her and took many years to accept it. I keep her favorite bracelet on a table with family photos of her and me. One day, it was missing and I had a panic attack. The bracelet was made by my mum's grandfather, and she wore it every day. It was a part of her. But when I told my wife, she told me that she sold it. I sobbed. I wasn't mad at her, just devastated. But soon after, the bracelet was back on the table, and I asked her about it. She started laughing and saying, "You should have seen your face." My brother, she is going to murder you. You are going to end up like that egg, oh my god. When we were gardening, I noticed that I dropped my keys. She was grouchy since it was hot, and she was planting flowers since the morning. When she found them, she threw them at my face and it cut my nose. She felt horrible, but that reaction threw me off. One time after work on Halloween, I was feeling particularly depressed for no reason. I don't blame her for this, but she played a prank on me and jump scared me, something we do every Halloween. I started crying and having a breakdown because it was kind of the last straw for me after my shift. She laughed and kept laughing, and then went back to the living room and watched TV. One time on Facebook, we found out that a classmate had been in a car accident. I told her, and she shrugged, saying that she didn't really know her, so it doesn't matter. It's okay for her not to care about the victim, but the poor girl was heavily injured, and my memories from her from school were pleasant, and she genuinely didn't deserve what happened. My wife and I love horror. We are horror fans, but I cannot stand violence against animals. It disturbs me. So when we put on When Evil Lurks, as you can imagine, I threw up. The kicker is that she has seen it, but wanted to watch it with me since she loves it so much. I'm happy that she loves it, but I would have appreciated a warning, which I vocalized. She shrugged it off and that was that. That's a few, but the worst of it happened just yesterday. I tried my hardest to not say anything, but it might be my last straw. I was cleaning up our room and my wife was at work, and I found a journal buried underneath the mattress as I was swapping sheets. For some reason, I opened it and realized quickly that it was my wife's diary. I would have put it back if I didn't see the words on the page. I was horrified. She wrote that when she was driving, there was a line of geese crossing the street. Annoying, yes, but the thing you're supposed to do is wait. My wife wrote that geese are a useless species, so it doesn't matter if a few get run over. Yes, she ran over 2 geese on that road. Again, I was horrified. I know what people will say, so I'm going to answer a few questions. My question is, why haven't you gotten out of there, OP? She's gonna kill you. I love her. I recognize that sometimes her behavior is unacceptable and concerning. I recognize the concern, which is why I'm here in the first place. But you all have to realize that for the past 16 years now, she's been my world. We dated for 6 years before getting married, and it's been 10 years since our wedding. In those 16 years, I've witnessed her go through horrific things, and she's witnessed the same. It's hard to sum up those 16 years, but it's difficult, and I'm already saying too much. I noticed the change over the past 3 or so years, and even then, in the moment, I didn't see it as an issue until reading that little journal entry. I can't just leave her, but I can't act the same around her after finding that out. I realize that I need to confront her about what I saw, but truthfully, I'm afraid. I never knew that it was something that she was capable of until I read it and started putting the pieces together. Whatever is going on, I don't know what to do with it. She has a therapist and so do I. She seems genuine, but I don't know what to do, knowing that she willingly killed an animal without any remorse. Honestly, I just don't want to leave her. I met her young, and all I know is her. She's seen me through the most vulnerable parts of my life, and vice versa. Her family and my family are basically intertwined. We all love each other. She's basically been there longer than when she hasn't. If I have to leave her, I think that will be it for me. That'll be all I have. I'm 37, which isn't old, but also not desirable either. I don't even know why she had a crush on me because I personally don't think I'm desirable. I don't even know if this post will make sense. I don't know if anyone will take the time out of their day to read my struggles. My therapist is on vacation, so I can't tell her yet. I need somebody to talk to because everybody that I'm telling brushes it off since she's a very sweet person to them. I just want to fix this. Edits, answering some questions, I said she's witnessed horrific things. I mean that a family member of hers has passed, and one of our mutual friends passed as well. But this didn't happen until months later. We have no kids. I had a rough experience that I won't delve into that made me realize I am asexual, and I will ask her soon. In the comments, I'll be super honest with you. I was married for 9 long years to someone just like your wife. The last straw was one of my cats being beaten to the point of her face being so swollen that one eye was shut for a week and she didn't get out of her hiding spot for 3 days. Urine and feces in the corner of a closet. I guess she couldn't bring herself to make a run for the litter box in case she would encounter him. I was out the door in a week. It took everything from me, but I knew this would escalate. Don't wait too long, OP. This sounds like a psychopath/covert narcissism. Be safe, take care, and please, confide in family members or friends you trust. Let people know what's going on. OP, my ex and I were driving home, and a raccoon ran out in the other lane, way ahead of us. We didn't even have to stop or slow down, but my ex purposely switched lanes and sped up to hit and kill it. He is now in prison years later for a murder. Please notice the signs. Yup, I saw a neighborhood kid once light a field mouse on fire. He thought that it was hilarious, but I just cried and had nightmares for a week. Flash forward 20 years, and I read about him in the newspaper torturing kittens and posting videos of it online. Turns out that he had been in and out of prison since I'd grown up with him for all kinds of stuff. Assaults, arson, burglaries, etc. He ended up going back to prison, I think, after the kitten incident. But I think that it was just a slap on the wrist, because animal cruelty wasn't even a crime in Alaska until like 2010. You can leave her despite a 16-year investment. You've fallen for the sunk cost fallacy. You put up with her cruelty for years because you have low self-esteem. However, you need to understand that her stomping on that egg and running over the birds are deal breakers. She's mentally very sick. She needs a full physical and psychological evaluation to see if it's a brain tumor, personality disorder, or something. And if he doesn't, who's to say the wife's behavior won't eventually escalate from animals to him or other people? She's already shown that she's capable of purposely killing things that she sees as useless and has no issue causing mental or physical anguish towards someone that she loves. You couldn't pay me enough to stay with someone like that. And edit, yes, I know that she has been physical with him. I meant escalating to the point that she starts treating OP like the chicken egg or geese. I really hope that OP did read all of these comments. There was so many more. And I'm sorry if they were graphic, but I put these out to help people. You can't sugarcoat things when it comes to helping people break through the fog. If these are things that you notice in a partner or someone else in your life that they are doing and you just kind of brush it off because you're like, man, that's kind of weird, but hey, people do weird things all the time. I don't know about all that. I feel like those are signs of someone becoming a killer, slowly escalating their behavior. Whether that be a personality change, whether that be a tumor, who knows? But if you can recognize the signs, you can at least try and keep yourself safe from this person. If it's a personality thing and she gets that full evaluation, maybe that is the permission that he needs to leave and keep himself safe. All that self-blaming and saying, I'm not desirable, I don't even know why she wanted me in the first place, no one wants a washed-up 37-year-old. Please don't speak of yourself like that, OP. It's not true. There's plenty of people that would date you at 37. It's not a deal breaker. It's okay. Update. Answering some concerns. Thank you for your comments and your time. I've had a long month, and there is a lot to say, but I honestly cannot stress enough how much your support and words, harsh or not, mean to me. I'll say what has been on my mind lately, but if anybody just came for this, here it is. I'm leaving my ex-wife, Anna, but we are still living together as I pack my things. I'm not really scared of her anymore, so that's her name. I sat down and had a conversation with her. Everything I wrote down and posted here was copy and pasted from Google Docs. I left some details out since they were identifiable for both Anna and I. I showed it to her, and she blew up at me. I understand why she was angry. I did share information about our marriage and life on the internet. Her emotions were reasonable, but I started to get very irritable. She listened to the word vomit that just spewed out. She didn't interrupt me or yell at me because I think she realized in that moment how badly it was all affecting me. I begged her to just hear me out, and surprisingly, she did. She admitted that she also recognized that she was changing and told her therapist about it. Do I believe her? Not really. She said that she has been scaring herself and that she's been having anger issues flaring up that she has noticed, and as some of you predicted, she didn't want to give sex up, so she cheated on me with some guy that she met at her job. Honestly, by the time she explained herself, I didn't care, because I don't. With everything that has happened, this was the least shocking. I asked Anna, genuinely, if she loved the man she met, and she said yes, which hurt, but also didn't seem like a surprise to me. I told Anna that if she didn't love me, I can divorce her, and we can figure out the separation and home situation. She agreed far too quickly, but I was so emotionally exhausted and done with her shit that it just didn't register how little she valued the marriage and to just toss it out like it was nothing. I told her that for the next guy, she needs to get help. She agreed that she would check herself into the hospital. Some of you suggested a tumor, but that wasn't the case. Her explanation was that the other man got her into drugs. That's all I'll say on that matter because it's all she told me. At this point, I don't even care what the reason was because the impact was the same. Honestly, I'll forever kick myself down for not recognizing any warning signs sooner. It should have never gotten to the point that it did, and while it may not be my fault, I'm haunted every day by the thought that I could have been smarter and stopped her from doing everything that she did. When I say that she wasn't always like this, I mean it. She didn't give a specific date from when her affair started, so I can't pinpoint it to an exact event that happened. I miss the woman she used to be, the lovely girl that I've known for almost 2 decades. I know this was something that had to be done, but no matter how many times I tell myself that, it doesn't make me feel any better. For those wanting to know, Butter is safe. He's a good boy, and he's staying with my sister while I pack up to leave. My wife never physically hurt him, but she has yelled at him a few times. It hurts not having him here all the time since my sister's house is 30 minutes away, but he's safe, and I actually see him tonight. I also informed my family about the situation. I didn't want to, but I knew that it was necessary. They understand and apologized for their brushing off of the situation, but to be fair, I downplayed it. So that could also be why they didn't see it as an issue. Her family knows that we are splitting as well. And she's still admitted. I don't hear from her because they take your phone away at the hospital. I hope she can recover, but after everything that my therapist, family, best friend, and you guys said, I can't bring myself to stay with her. Breaking it off felt like ripping my own arm off. I was devastated and still am. She seemed distraught as well, but I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't think she doesn't care about me. I think there is a part of her that still cares, but maybe I'm wishfully thinking. Even through everything, I can't be mad at her. But I know loving her isn't good for me. Is it wrong to forgive her? To see everything from her side? It hurts. It really does. I don't know anything but her. It feels like my life is over, even though it isn't. I don't want to date again, but I just want to connect with other people. It didn't click how isolated I was until I left. I realize now that she is at fault for my lack of communication with anybody. If I had to conclude this jumbled mess of an update, it'd be this. I'm going to be fine. It's only been like 2 weeks, but it's been the longest 2 weeks of my life. I realize that there are more people around that support and care about me. It honestly was really hard to accept that Anna was a disturbed individual who didn't love me. Sometimes, I still convince myself that she does, but everybody around me states that she doesn't, and I'm coming to terms with this. It's progress. I've spent more than 16 years with this woman tormenting me, and I have a warped perception of reality. It truly is not easy to experience any of this, and honestly, sometimes I want to come back to her. But I know that maybe I can't find the woman or man, for me, that will love me the way I need to. I'm working it out in therapy, and honestly, I'm still frightened of Anna, but I'm thankful that she was the catalyst to a new chapter of my life. I learned a lot from this, mostly what love is and isn't. Thanks. You guys have good perspectives on things. I can't say that Reddit is what fixed my problems, but I can say that leaving was a result of the extra push that you guys provided. I wish Anna the best wherever her future takes her. While I'm sad that the future will not have me in it, I think that this was the best for the both of us, since she doesn't seem to love me and I now fear her. This should be the end of my updates. I don't really see this updating further unless something happens with her. I want to be done with this, and I want to move on. In the comments, Sweet Zocolotl says, midway through the first post, I had to go back up and check what subreddit this came from because I was convinced this came from r/no-sleep or something like that. What with the wife's increasing psychotic behavior and OP just continuously underreacting to said behaviors, it felt like a setup to a horror story. This is the kind of comment I came here to see. My mother is a lot like Anna. I love hearing how many standard deviations away from sane she really is. Fun fact, there's a disorder called sadistic personality disorder that was once considered for cases like this. Narcissists with a psychopathic disconnect from reality whose main joy in life comes from sadism instead of self-aggrandizement. But the disorder was taken out of the DSM. Not because it's not valid, but because it was feared that violent criminals would claim that they have the disorder and get away with horrific crimes. This explains so much. We still need that classification, we just need to make sure that it doesn't shield anyone from consequences. They still have made a conscious choice to break the law, they may have no empathy, but they still have a brain that can tell illegal from legal, even if it can't tell right from wrong. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!